Welcome to Topic 8 here on WYLN, everyone. I'm Gary Perna. Today, Hazleton Mayor Jeff Cusat, City Administrator Dan Lynch are here. We're going to talk about the 2019 budget. It's going to be coming out right around the corner, and where we stand right now in 2018. Does the city have a deficit, and what does that mean as we come to the close of 2018? All that and plus a lot more on Topic 8, so don't go anywhere, right here on WYLN.
SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond Contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Renai, and trained comfort specialists, call SJ Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
Whether you suffer a sports injury or have a chronic orthopedic issue, Coordinated Health has everything you need from start to finish. Our team of highly trained specialists work together with just one goal in mind: to get you back to your life.
You got a disc herniation. We got this.
For orthopedics at the next level, Coordinated Health has you covered.
We got this. We got this.
We got this.
We got this.
Coordinated Health, we got this.
It's cash for junkers. For 4 days only, you'll get a minimum of $3,000 for your trade towards the purchase of any new or pre-owned vehicle. No junkers, no worries. We'll give you $2,000 over Kelly Blue Book Instant Trade Offer. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event happening October 17th through Saturday the 20th at the Laurel Mall. You can shop for new vehicles from our 9 franchises, Wednesday through Saturday. It's all happening at the Laurel Mall. This is the last chance of the year to see all 300-plus vehicles in one location. Don't miss this event. Blaze Alexander, taking the deals the other guys won't. Cash for junkers. Hope to see you there.
Join us this week on Let's Talk Chiropractic. You're going to meet Sabrina, who has had some issues with her back and her health for quite some time. She's feeling much better thanks to good chiropractic care, and now her daughter is part of the act. You're also going to meet a very special guest. She's a friend of the family, and she's on this week on Let's Talk Chiropractic. Join us.
Welcome back to Topic 8 here on WYLN, everyone. I'm Gary Perna. Pleased once again to have Hazleton Mayor Jeff Cusat, and for the first time on our show, the new City Administrator Dan Lynch. Thank you both for coming on and talking with us today. First of all, I want to talk about the 2019 budget, and that's really what the whole show is going to be about. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about where we stand right now in 2018. And we have seen in the end of 2017 to start 2018, we went into Act 47 to basically say we're having a lot of cash flow problems. We're having some issues here in the city. Being under Act 47 for the 2018 budget, Mayor, how has it helped? Have we seen some kind of differences? Where are we at?
Well, actually, this year's budget is pretty in line where we expected to be. We did start last year on with an $850,000 loan. That still did not put us in a position where we were even going into the year. We carried a lot of expenses and accounts payable forward, so we're starting the year off in debt already. First payroll came out, so we're still trying to make it through those side effects.
And Dan, you've worked in Act 47 in your previous job down as the borough manager in Monte City. Stepping into this job right now and seeing where Hazleton is, just looking at 2018, where are we projected to go, and how do you think this is really going to affect putting together the 2019 budget?
Well, one of the big factors that has to be considered is the Act 47 plan for Hazleton really only keeps the city, I guess you could say, solvent over its 5 years. It doesn't do some things that the city should consider in order to be, financially more healthy. It's a little bit more complex than the Act 47 plan for Monte City. Monte City's remedy was similar to the city's in that they raised the IT, but it then also provided the city with a surplus in its budget every year that allowed it to build up a capital fund and to allow it to build up general fund balance as well. Whereas the city, it calls for the EIT increase as well as potential real estate tax increases. But if you look at the projections of the coordinator, it's really just projecting to then a zero, so no deficit, no surplus over the 5-year period.
Now, I know, and we're still waiting to hear on the ruling for the EIT tax to be raised in Hazleton. That has to come from the county judge, and that's been stalled right now, correct?
Correct.
Could you elaborate on maybe why? Have we heard anything? Is there anything coming from DCD of why this may be taking so long?
No, from DCD's perspective, they just consider this as highly irregular,
Okay.
And that recognize that it actually kind of throws the plan into a bit of kind of raises some issues immediately of cash issues, because the EIT would allow the city to be in a better cash position going into the end of this year. We really don't know a lot about the situation, other than some kind of issue was raised that would warrant the judge to kind of seek some advice, I guess you can say, and we have not received the order yet, the signed order. So that's kind of put the city behind the curve by a few months in order to start receiving that EIT revenue.
And I know if the Hazleton's budget for 2018 kind of hinders on what the EIT may happen with it. So if it doesn't happen in 2018, does that affect a large deficit that we'll be left with to try to pick up in 2019?
Well, the city was carrying a deficit. The city was already carrying a deficit. If you were to look back to 2017, the city, as you know, received an $850,000 loan, but that was just to get through the operating expenses of 2017. Even considering that loan, the city still finished with a small deficit. Now, if you were to look at the balance sheet of the city on 12/31, you would see that the city was carrying a large amount of payables, around $350,000. There was also some workers' compensation payables, and there was even some payables on taxes for the last payroll, which means the city really didn't make its last payroll in 2017. So it kind of just got through the 2017 year and carried into 2018 this running deficit, so to speak. So when you look at revenues and expenses for the 2018 year, they look like they are in line, but the city is having a cash issue right now because it carried into the year a deficit. So in the beginning of the year, when the city is receiving revenue, it's really paying older bills. So it's not paying the current bills.
And that, Mayor, has been a problem that we've seen from year to year to year, and this is why we have this running deficit. So with that kind of out there in the open now, the 2019 budget, where do we stand right now with it? And is there anything that we can expect? I know there have been a lot of stories done already in anticipation of what may be going on, and council has said some of the things that they wanted to see or didn't want to see. But where do we stand right now?
Well, we started a process this year where we included the department heads and city council right off the bat. So we've been having work sessions, for the past few weeks, months. So it's not a surprise when it is, officially released. So they all have working copies. We have this presented, our ideas and things that we'd like to see. So right now, the budget that we have been working off of is balanced, and it does not have a tax increase. However, like Dan said, there's a lot of stuff that we need for the future, and I'm sure Dan could.
Yeah, if I could just touch on that a little bit. The plan does not specifically call for real estate tax increases of a certain amount, but what the plan would call for is that any deficits in a budget would be closed by the raising of real estate taxes. And it then included a projection for 2019 of roughly, say, $300,000 that would be needed to cover the budget. So when the mayor and I first started planning in the very early stages of the budget, the mayor said, maybe we should first try and see if we can close that deficit, with some revenue initiatives. And that we know we're starting from a place of not automatically having a real estate tax increase. So the mayor has put forth a couple of revenue generating initiatives in this budget, which has allowed this version of the budget to not include a real estate tax increase. So as we've been talking with council in these early stages, as the mayor said, right now in 19, the city has a balanced operating budget for next year based on those expenses and those revenues, but the city still has some issues that need to be considered, and as we've met with council, we said you may need to consider raising real estate taxes in order to do this, at least enough to make sure that you are not going to have this deficit rear its head for you repeatedly and put you in a position where you can maybe not make a payroll.
All right, we're going to stop right there. When we come back here on Topic A, we're going to pick up our discussion on the 2019 budget. We're going to talk about some of the things that were proposed to offset a tax increase and how they're sitting right now, plus much more. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Topic A, only on WYLN.
BLB Auto Sales is a division of Barbush Automotive. One call does it all. Looking for a good pre-owned car or truck? BLB Auto Sales has a great lineup of clean, inspected vehicles. If you need repairs on your vehicle, then Barbush Automotive can handle any job at affordable prices. Located at 1299 State Route 940, Hazel Township, one call does it all. 570-454-7571.
Northeast Pennsylvania. Scenic beauty, close-knit communities. We're neighbors helping neighbors. Lehigh Valley Health Network is bringing you leading-edge cancer treatment that's close to home. Robotic surgery for quicker recoveries. World-class heart care and access to top specialists. All from Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton and our 15 community locations. Neighbors caring for Greater Hazleton and beyond. Lehigh Valley Health Network.
FunandLC.com is the official source to all the great things to do here and near Luzerne County. Visit our brand new website to find your fun in any PA. And be sure to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages for weekly listings of the top things to do in our area, along with free giveaways to the area's best events. Download any of our annual guides that will provide you with information on local events, outdoor recreation, arts and entertainment, and family fun and activities. Go to funandlc.com today to start finding your fun in Luzerne County.
You've seen university advertising. A student like me pitching you the same old ideas. But I'm not gonna do that.
Instead, I'm gonna tell you what you can do with a Penn State degree. You can help anyone. Go anywhere. Create! And with 20 campuses to choose from, you'll always feel at home.
Look, Penn State is amazing, but your best years are just beginning. Come find out for yourself.
SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond Contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Rinnai, and trained comfort specialist, call SJ Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about visiting a restaurant that has a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we'll be featuring on our show. Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. Jeff Bonomo and his co-host, Alan Giannetti, welcome you into the world of craft beer, great wine, and good food. Wine, Hops, and Road Stops.
Welcome back to Topic A here on WYLN, and we're talking about the 2019 budget in Hazleton. So right now, the city has a kind of a working draft release out to council members and department heads, and where a final budget must be presented to council by November 1st. The city administrators say that that they should have the budget to them hopefully sooner than that. So we're talking about the 2019 budget now, and Dan, I want to go back where we were. With this budget right now, as it sits in front of us, it doesn't have a tax increase in it, correct?
Correct. It would have the EIT increase in it that we're still waiting on the order, but it does not have a real estate tax increase. Now, the Act 47 plan, as I stated earlier, it doesn't strictly call for one, but it projected a real estate tax increase of about 0.3 mils, which would bring in roughly $300,000. So starting from that point, the mayor wanted to see if it was possible to propose a budget that would close that with other revenue sources in real estate, and then that would leave the door open to potentially looking at, if a real estate tax were implemented, what else can be done with it.
Now, Mayor, you put out a few different ordinances within the last couple of months to look at different areas to generate revenue. The parking space rental one, the tow, changing the way we handle towing in the city. They right now, if I remember correctly, are in front of City Council to be voted on, or by the time the show airs, they will be voted on by Council. So if they pass, that's great. If they don't, what would happen?
Okay, well, first, we touched on a few things. Like I've been saying for years now, we need to audit some of our accounts to see what is outstanding. So far this year, we did finally start the audit on the rental registrations, which brought in a few hundred other properties that have been located and now bring in money. So we're going to getting extra money that way. For the last couple of years, I've been saying we should be going after the business mercantile tax. So we are putting out an RFP now to bring in companies to audit the business license, business license compared to and what they're paying in mercantile tax. And then some of the other ideas we have is putting out towing in a contract form. So the idea came up, we should put it out for bid for one tower. Some people came back and said maybe we should just charge like a licensing fee. So that's stuff that will be discussed at the work session tomorrow night, which is before the air. And then that's going to have to be finalized, as well as the parking. My idea is to sell the property owner a permitted spot in front of their house. Again, that Council did agree to start a pilot program, so that will be on the agenda to start the pilot program to gauge the interest in that. But those things will need to be finalized at this work session, because then the council meeting comes out, the next council meeting, the budget will then be released. So if those things cannot be hashed out, then council, if they decide not to do things like that, then they're going to decide to put the increase in taxes in. So it's going to be up to them how they decide to handle that.
Now, as it stands, with those in the budget, we would be kind of just breaking even across the board without any type of increase in funding coming in. As we've seen, though, in past years, when we have a just across the board budget and we have issues that arise, we've had that big snowstorm which drained a lot of money. The boiler went out at City Hall. If something else would happen down the road, are there any emergency funds built in that the city has? I mean, what happens now? A worst case scenario happens, trucks break down, we get another big snowstorm, something major happens. How does the city deal with it?
Well, as it stands now, the city really does not have a healthy fund balance, and as we discussed earlier, the city's carrying a running deficit. So you can have a budget for your 2019 year and say, okay, our expenses and our revenues for 2019 are balanced, but the city's still going to be carrying this deficit into the budget year. So the two things the city really should be looking to do is build up a fund balance for exactly the reasons you just said. Things can happen that can create issues for the city. And another thing the city should be looking at is a capital fund balance, because you do have to do things like replace a roof or buy new vehicles, the costs that come associated with running the city. You would hear at a bare minimum fund balance would be in about the 10% range. So for the city, about $1 million on hand at any time. Whereas, as we saw, at the end of 17, the city's carrying over $500,000 in deficit. So we're in quite the opposite direction as far as that goes. So you could find yourself in that calendar year doing okay for that calendar year, but then something were to occur that's going to just deepen that deficit because you already have that following you.
Now, are there any increases in the 2019 budget as far as new personnel, new hires, things like that, or are we still pretty much status quo?
The plan calls for a hiring freeze throughout the year unless new funds are generated. So I believe everything that was there is still budgeted for this year. This is there for next year. We are in negotiations with the police department, which, we would like to increase the police department to 45. However, that would take a lot of negotiating because we only have a certain amount of money in each department to be spent year over year for the next 5 years. So that's besides that, we're kind of going to be status quo for a while. So there will not be any extra services provided to the citizens, and that's.
So right now, and again, we've seen both Police Chief Jerry Speziale and Fire Chief Donald Leshko have received grants to help them in their departments and with staffing and new equipment and stuff like that. So we're thankful for the part of that, and the grants have come in. But right now, there's nothing extra. And I think that's something we wanted to point out with this, is that, you know, there's no hidden figures in there to hire 6 new people. There's no hidden figures in there for new office furniture. This is a bare minimum budget that right now we're barely just staying above float.
Yeah, correct. We're staying the same, and yet our equipment is deteriorating, our cities are our streets are deteriorating, everything we own is deteriorating, and you know, that's just the way it's been planned.
I personally, you know, I really think citizens need to truly understand the true financial situation the city was in and is still in, and what would have happened, say the Act 47 plan could not have been done or the city was turned down. The city would have been facing a deficit going into next year's budget of roughly 1.8 to $2 million of a deficit, because the city has had a structural deficit in its pension fund balance for the last 2 years, or pension fund budget, I should say, and then 2018 that was 1.3 million. So that EIT increase, really for the bulk of it, is just covering that deficit that already existed. So the city has to first cover a major deficit in next year's budget, which is being done by the EIT and tax increase. So no, you know, there really isn't any additional things going on in the budget. You know, and if that were something that existed, the coordinator's part of their job is to look at city operations and to say, you know, maybe you're overstaffed here or you're overstaffed there. But I think, you know, because things have been tight for the city for a couple of years, they've kind of come down to those bare minimums as far as operating safely for the citizens. And with my talking to people and having gone back and looked at, you know, old minutes and things, I really don't ever see a call for reduction in services. People want the services they have, and I think we have a great police department, a great fire department. They do a great job, and great public works. So when people want those services, I think it's just a matter of people understanding where their money goes and where it goes to pay for those services. And that's part of what we're trying to do. You know, we really want to kind of usher in a level of transparency and communication with not only the council, but with the people at large, so they understand the financial picture of the city and understand the plan even and why we're doing what we're doing.
All right. We're going to take a break there. We'll be right back here on Topic A. Stay with us on WYLN.
Fast, consistent internet speeds, TV your way, and reliable phone service, all from the one provider who also lives here. Service Electric Cablevision. Connect with us.
Make the beer stop your stop for the best selection of beer in the area. Over 450 types of beer, a huge variety of styles to please everyone's tastes. Over 150 microbrews, including hard-to-find beers. Over 100 German and Belgian beers and frozen daiquiris to go. Do you like trying new beers? Make your own six-pack at the beer stop with a large assortment of single bottles. The beer stop is open until midnight every day, all year long. Make the beer stop your stop. 16 North Broad Street in West Hazleton. For over 25 years, Whitetail Preserve Shooting Range, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg, has provided professionally designed skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields. All stations are handicap accessible with resident NRA certified shooting instructors on site. Packages are available to fit anyone's budget, and there is a restaurant and catering on site. The facility is also available for weddings, business meetings, bachelor parties, private parties of any kind. Call 570-384-2314.
In a world where an instant tweet can create a firestorm of news coverage, WYLN is moving with the times, allowing for more instant reporting of breaking news on television and on social media, as well as regular hourly news updates. News gets out faster than ever before, and WYLN brings it all to you. Live weekdays at 5:30 only on WYLN. We're your local network. welcome back here to Topic A. I want to jump right into this, and Dan, I want to go to you. There has been a lot of conversations happening, I think, since Hazleton went in Act 47 about how much do we have to follow. You know, if we don't like something, do we have to do that? You know, can we do something different instead? But what people may not understand is Act 47 actually was voted in as a law that must be followed, correct?
Correct. When you pass your Act 47 plan, which the council passed earlier in the year, it is an ordinance. It's passed as a law. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't some leeway in certain things that are in the plan. And so some things are just studies, in other words, and some things are, you know, more concrete. But the coordinators stay involved. You know, we meet with our Act 47 coordinators on just about a weekly basis. They're constantly, you know, we're constantly assessing city operations. Certain things like the mayor mentioned earlier, we can't make hires until we know we have the revenue to account for it. So that's the kind of thing they're looking at. Any budget that we come out with, you know, goes through the coordinators as well, you know, to kind of make sure it follows the constraints of the plan. And any collective bargaining agreements that are made with our employees also have to be reviewed and for compliance within the plan. So, and
you, as the administrator and the mayor and the administration team, meet with your coordinator, is it weekly, bi-weekly? You know, so it's not this, here's the plan, now deal with it. It's they're involved this whole time.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's every Monday we meet together as a team, and then just constant emails and phone calls.
Okay.
You know, back and forth. I mean, they have a complete oversight.
Yeah. And both of you had said during the breaks that being very transparent with this budget, everybody's seeing where everything's going. So the public, council, the departments, DCED, everybody has a hand in looking at this and informing this. So as much input as possible is always the greatest thing for you guys.
Absolutely.
We've been trying to be as open as possible throughout my whole administration. You know, we came out with everything, and we want people to understand where your money's going, because I know it's hard to follow.
Right.
But people don't realize how much, you know, each department costs us, what you pay in your taxes. Nobody likes taxes, but at least we try to explain what it is. You know, our pension obligation, $6 million. Our police department, $5 million. I mean, people have to know where they have the right to know where their money's being spent.
And Dan, you had said even getting people to come in and look at it. So potentially within the next couple months, we could be seeing some maybe like open house, getting them in, look at the budget, understand it, and question you guys on some things.
Absolutely. That's a kind of a personal thing for me, that I really want to have like a level of financial literacy for the city that citizens I would like to see have. And we've talked about having some budget open houses or just coming up to talk about it. I mean, it's a big part of, I think, good governance. You know, this is the stuff that can save your life. You know, police, fire. You know, this is the level of government where things are working for you, and you should know how they work and why they work. You know, so we're there to try to give those answers to people.
Mayor, so we have the working budget here. Again, we're taping this in October, right before a council meeting, so things may be changing at the time this is airing. But I know you, along with council, will be back on many times before the end of the year to talk about the budget and where things stand. But this working budget right now, we will see definitely something will have to be presented to council before November 1st. But in your eyes, your opinion, this is kind of in the direction we're going with this budget.
This is relatively the direction we're going. So we have one more work session tomorrow night, and whatever was discussed there, we'll feel more comfortable putting things in and out, and it'll be basically up to council from there.
And this is, you know, we're trying to emphasize that we're working with council. This is one team to move the city forward. And, you know, it's a discussion about how we're going to tackle the problems together. You know, so, you know, we might say we need to consider some things like maybe a tax increase to close that deficit, but we're putting that out there and making sure we work together in order to do that.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you for watching us on Topic A, where the community comes to talk. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.